Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our topic for today is academic reading. Academic reading is defined as reading with a specifically academic and educational purpose. Academic reading includes reading more traditional books, dictionaries, encyclopedias, and journal articles, along with a vast number of resources available online. Academic reading involves layers of asking questions, reflecting on relationships among parts of the text, interpreting meaning, making connections with other readings, refining your topic and purpose. Three thinking stages for effective reading are: before, during, and after. Your brain should actually travel through three thinking stages. Firstly, before reading, that is called preview. Then, during reading, your brain should connect the knowledge, and after reading, your brain should recall and reflect. Coming to stage one, the preview stage or before reading stage. Preview the textbook. You have to preview the title of the text, author, publication date, preface or foreword. Study tools should be the table of contents, appendix, index, glossary, charts, graphs, pictures and diagrams, etc. Then you have to look at a chapter. You have to look for any reading aids in it. For example, the introduction, chapter summary, learning objectives, headings or subheadings, study questions, charts, maps, graphs, supplementary readings, author's notes, additional references. And what about the page layout? You have to look at that as well. You have to look out for the bold-faced or italicized print, the white space, the clear print. Then, before you read a chapter, you have to predict. You have to predict what will it be about. Then get an overview of the material. You have to establish a purpose and you have to activate your schema or your prior knowledge. Next point, preview the chapter thoroughly. And for previewing the chapter thoroughly, you have to see the chapter title, subheading. You have to focus on first paragraph, that is the introduction, last paragraph, that is the summary, headings and subheadings, first sentence, boldface or italic print, charts, graphs, tables, and questions at the end. Next point, turn on your memory by asking questions. What questions can be asked? What is the topic of the chapter? What do I really know? What is my purpose for reading? How is the material organized? How long is the chapter? What parts of the chapter seem most important? Do I need to read everything with equal care? Then comes stage two, connect knowledge. This is the during reading stage, when you keep connecting the knowledge. First point, actively read. How do you read actively? You seek, you picture, you relate, you monitor, and you correct. Seek, it means you have to seek answers to your questions. When I say you have to picture, it means you have to visualize, you have to create a picture in your mind. When you relate, you connect with ideas you already know. When you monitor, you become aware of what you are reading and why. When you correct, you get back to concentrating and understanding. Point number 2, organize the information. How do you organize the information? You annotate, you mark the textbook, highlight, make margin notes, and you have to be selective. Use post-it notes, make concept cards. Concept cards are the note cards. You create maps and charts. You take notes. Moving on to stage 3, you recall and reflect after reading. Point number 1, recall. That means you review, recall, reflect, and relate. You recap what you learned, you recall using the notes, reflect and relate. It means you have to think, does the information show causes and effects, compare and contrast of ideas, how to apply the new ideas? When I say you reflect, means you review your notes, review the PowerPoint, take the study skills assessment, write a journal entry, make concept cards. The reading process, it's a simple process. What is it? Establishing a purpose. Purpose of reading. Then understanding academic vocabulary. Pre-reading. Interacting with the text. Extending beyond the text. Moving on to PQ, 3R reading strategy. This is the reading strategy or a study system where P stands for preview, Q stands for question, and the 3 R's are read, recite, and review. So coming to preview first. You have to look at the title, introduction, table of contents. Then skip to the end and read the summary first. After reading title, introduction, and table of contents, read the summary. Then scan through chapter headings and subheadings. Notice boldface and italic print. Notice graphics, diagrams, charts, tables, formulae, box inserts, and decide when if you'll focus on them. Read list of key terms at end of chapter. Look at questions and examples. General preview time, guideline, about 10 minutes per 30-page chapter. Then after preview comes question. The strategy is PQ3R. So after preview comes question. Before reading, create questions based on preview, information, questions included at the end of book or chapter, boldface headings. Do one section at a time. Go beyond just fact, questions to deeper levels of critical thinking. Then you have to read actively. Retrain your mind to concentrate and stay engaged as you read. Read one section at a time with questions in mind. Look for the answers. Organize your notes around questions and answers. Notice if you need to make up new questions. Then comes the next R. After PQ comes, this is the first, after reading, questioning, this is the recitation part. After each section, stop and recall your questions. See if you can answer these questions from memory. Do not go on to the next section until you can rephrase information in your own words. Take very brief notes after you read each section, not at the same time as you are reading. For example, summarize answers to questions. Then moving on to review, go back over all questions from all headings. See if you can still answer them. If not, look back and refresh your memory. Now come to strategies of effective readers. What are the strategies that effective readers use? These are pre-reading, during reading, and after reading strategies. Firstly, the pre-reading strategies. Set a purpose for reading. Set goals for reading. Determine a plan for reading. Activate background knowledge. Make predictions. During reading, what you have to do is ask questions. Summarize. Identify main ideas. Make connections. Make inferences. Visualize. Use fix-up strategies. Understand new vocabulary and create interpretations. Then after reading, reflect on what you have read, revise interpretations, summarize main ideas, draw conclusions, seek additional information. And what are the strategies for active reading? First, create a plan of action. Instead of haphazardly tracking a textbook chapter or procrastinating about reading assignments, select an appropriate systematic reading system to use to move you into reading process and achieve your specific reading goals. Then read with a pencil in your hand. Interact with printed materials by highlighting text, writing questions as you read, making notes in the textbook or on paper, creating pictures to show key concepts, or redrawing important visual materials. Then use knowledge of writing structures and organizational patterns. Strive to get into the writer's head by identifying patterns used in paragraphs to organize details. Then distinguish between factual knowledge and procedural knowledge. Select the best suited strategies to learn, rehearse, and review the two kinds of information. What two kinds? Factual and procedural knowledge. Learn how to read and interpret graphic materials. Use all available resources. Active readers are resourceful readers. They take advantage of textbook resources, website enrichment materials, supplementary videos, computer lab software, lab manuals, study guides, tutors, or study groups. Now, come to the trick of the trade. Become an active reader. How? By skimming ahead and jumping back. Become an active reader by marking up the text. Yes, by highlighting key ideas, by circling unfamiliar words, by making marginal notes. How? By writing questions, agreements and disagreements, connections and evaluations, and finally, making observations. So this is all for today, and that's it. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.